Hi everyone, Jacob Howard here, and in this video we are going to discuss FPV cameras. These are different from the HD cameras that you might put on your drone to capture high quality cinematic footage. FPV cameras capture and send the perspective of your drone to your goggles with as low latency as possible. FPV cameras and RC hobby vehicles originated from security cameras. They originally consisted of a small lens on a large printed circuit board. They were bulky, fragile, and ineffective. Luckily for us though, the technology has come a long way, and now there are great options available for various applications. But that also means that it is important to understand what to look for when selecting an FPV camera. We are going to talk about what factors to look at and what they mean for you. Camera sensors. All cameras use sensors to interpret the light or photons into a digital or analog signal. For FPV cameras, the two sensors you will see are CCD and CMOS. CCD sensors are a bit older technology and for many years perform much better than CMOS. CCD sensors have very low latency because the video they send is not as crisp as CMOS sensors. They also have a good wide dynamic range, or WDR, meaning that they can adjust well to varying degrees of light and shadow without over or underexposing the image. However, CMOS sensors have continued to develop and in the recent years have been able to produce video at a lower latency than even some CCD sensors with increased sharpness of image. In most cases nowadays, new cameras with CCD and CMOS sensors will be fairly similar, but some pilots prefer one sensor over another because of the look. The important thing is to check that the latency rating is low and read reviews about the dynamic range or the camera's ability to adjust to lighting changes. Camera size. The next thing to consider is the size of the camera. Here we are referring to the size of the mounting case. There are 4 different camera sizes. These are HS117 or full size, mini, micro, and nano. The full size camera originated from the security camera mods we mentioned earlier. These have a mounting distance of 28mm in length. Mini cameras are 21mm in length, micro are 19mm in length, and nano cameras are 14mm in length. This is important to be aware of because your frame will have a mounting space for your camera, and while some small cameras come with spacers to fit larger frames, you cannot make a larger camera fit into a small frame. With the advancements in camera technology today, you likely won't see a large performance difference between full-size, micro, or mini cameras. Some pilots choose smaller cameras for weight savings, and some choose larger cameras because they fit better in their frame. As long as the camera fits in your frame, size is largely a personal preference. Lens size. One factor that is very important to consider when selecting an FPV camera is lens size. Lens size is directly related to field of view. They are given in millimeters, and this number refers to the focal length of the lens. Essentially, what this means is the larger the number, the less peripheral vision you will have, or the less fish-eyed your view will be. FPV camera lens sizes range from 2.8mm to 1.8mm. The most common lens sizes will fall between 2.1mm and 2.3mm. The DJI FPV camera uses a 2.1mm lens. This is another characteristic of your camera that in the end comes down to preference. Although a wider range of view is extremely helpful for seeing potential obstacles, some pilots prefer to avoid the warping that occurs at the edge of the large field of view camera. TV lines. Cameras use a measure called TV lines, often abbreviated as TVL, to specify the definition it can provide. TVL is essentially a factor of how many black and white lines can be recorded and processed at a time. The higher the TV line number, the more definition the camera can process. FPV cameras will have the TV line values as low as 600 and as high as 1200. However, it is worth mentioning that just because you have a camera with twice the TVL value doesn't necessarily mean that you will get twice as crisp of an image. There are also limitations on your goggles, and some camera manufacturers will even claim a higher TVL than the truth because there isn't a really great way to measure it. NTSC and PAL. NTSC and PAL refer to resolution and frame rate settings for a camera can use. Most cameras today are equipped to be set for either of these presets. PAL video has a resolution of 720 by 576 at 25 frames per second, while NTSC video has a resolution of 720 by 480 at 30 frames per second. If you prefer a slightly better resolution, you will choose PAL. If you want a more fluid picture, NTSC is the best option. Most cameras also come with an onboard OSD, or on-screen display, which can be used to configure specific settings like contrast, brightness, exposure, etc. However, some cameras come without the ability to change these settings. In some instances, for small drones, you can find cameras that are called AOI or all-in-one. This usually refers to a camera that is combined with a VTX system. These are extremely helpful in cases where weight and space is a big factor. They typically aren't very powerful VTXs though, or impressive cameras, but they are extremely small and easy to mount. A final option you may want to consider is a split cam system. A split cam is an FPV camera that has the option to send analog video to your goggles while at the same time recording HD video on board. This is a good option for drones that need to record high quality video but aren't powerful enough to carry a heavy action camera such as a GoPro. FPV cameras are extremely important to your drone build, and it is valuable to understand all the various options and metrics available to you, but it will likely take you a bit of time to decide which configuration you prefer. Most cameras available today will do an exceptional job, so the most important thing is you get one that can give you the best flying experience for you. If you guys have any questions, definitely let me know, and have fun flying.